after week 5 of the spring split, where I am joined by Martin the Fiscio Luna and Maurice Amazing Stückenschneider. You guys have been with me to cover these games so far, and we're going to dive straight into the standings. You have something to say, but let's take a look at the standings. I think I know what it's about. You're disappointed in Splice, aren't you?
Well, I was going to say I need a longer last name to compete with Amazing, but I guess, yeah, sure, I can be. I don't know. I'm not disappointed in Splice. I think that was a game where they almost came back. Obviously, it was all about late game team fighting, as we kind of talked about with both teams. Yeah. I think this game could have swung either way, but obviously, very last fight, when the Azir dies instantly, game is over.
Yeah, that sucked.
It sucked,
It
but Fnatic and G2, very impressive weekends. Now a 6-game winning streak for G2, amazing, and a 5-game winning streak for Fnatic. They have come online.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. I honestly thought that like G2 would still have some growing pains at this point in the season, but them actually being so dominant and so clean in their play is extremely surprising, and it's a welcome sight.
And they now join Vitality at the top of the standings. And this is the part of the show where I've prepared a couple of statements for you guys to agree or disagree with. They may be a little bit out there, they may be a little controversial, or they may be just right. You tell me. The first one is about that team, Vitality. Vitality has been figured out by the rest of the league. Just to remind you, they went 0-2 this weekend versus H2K and G2, and both of those losses weren't pretty. Have they been figured out?
Kinda, yes. I think Vitality rely too much on Dizuke getting ahead in the early game as the main way for them to start forcing plays, because what happens when Dizuke wins his lane is he gets enabled to either go to a side lane and make a play with whoever is there, or he becomes a split pusher himself, and then he draws a ton of pressure. Like, you can't send one guy, you gotta send two, and it's really hard to play against. So that kind of enables this aggression that Vitality use really effectively. What happened this week was both games, Galio was in the way. And what happened when Galio was there was you couldn't really kill him in lane, and then you can't really make a side lane play because TP, ulti, like he will always interrupt it. So it actually forced Vitality to play much more passive, which doesn't suit them.
Doesn't work for them.
Yeah, definitely didn't. Doesn't suit God Gilius either, because today he looked more like Dog Gilius, I think. Because he basically ran onto lanes, like tried to make a play, because honestly the team comps were just bad too. Like,
yeah, the drafting was bad.
The drafting was bad, and it forces a jungler to make plays that he shouldn't be making, similar to Cold on UL, for example. They had a couple of odd drafts, like especially yesterday, where you just jump in, you know it's bad, but you have to do it in order to get something going for the team. And if it doesn't work out, the game is loose anyway. So
part of me thinks that, one, yeah, some teams have figured out how to play against them, but more, I think Vitality has not realized what's good against them. Yeah. When we look at some of the champions being picked against them, that they're not banning away, that they're allowing to go through. And that's something I hope they do change for next week, because if they want to play this aggressive style, like picks like Galio, it will be in the way.
Well, a couple of things I want to jump on here. First up, they're still shared #1 in the standings. They also built themselves up a buffer to make some mistakes, right? This was a very hard verdict, this 0-2 week. But do we have faith in that individual talent and in the coach that is behind them in the system, that they will be good in time for playoffs? Because it looks very likely that they'll make it regardless.
I think their arrogance has kind of been toned down. So I do think that this is a learning experience to a certain extent, because it's the first time that they actually face adversity on a bigger scale. So for them to actually, and I think Yamato is someone that is actually great at that, because he has been on losing teams and has been developing those into winning teams at some point. For example, Rocket in 2015, that he is going to be able to use those mistakes in drafts, in play, to basically make the team stronger.
I think Vitality had a small buffer above the other teams coming into the split based on how they wanted to play on stage, where a lot of teams were really shaky and they got punished by it. I don't think they get that advantage again. So I think they will be weaker than teams like G2 and Fnatic, but I still think they'll make playoffs, and I don't think they're just going to get rolled over in the quarterfinal.
Yeah, I was going to mention yesterday you guys both agreed together with Caps that Vitality, G2 and Fnatic would 100% be in playoffs, and it seems that you guys are still agreeing at that point. So we will see what happens there, but now to move on to our next statement. Schalke 04 will not make the spring playoffs. And the reason why I thought of this one is because I was listening to Amazing today, and you said if H2K beats Vitality, I don't see Schalke 04 making it to playoffs. I see the other
100%. Yeah, I think there's definitely discussion to be had here, because Schalke, we had so much hope for them coming into the split. We always hyped them. We said, and even the coaching staff of them like hyped them. They said they're going to be top tier team by week 6. These kind of statements were made, and I have yet to see anything that indicates that, and we have to be harsh at some point, because Schalke, they have this individual talent, supposed individual talent, but they're not acting upon it. They're not showing any kind of progress either. The same mistakes happen week after week, while the structure in the games is good, like the 4-1 setups.
What are some of those same mistakes that you mentioned? Getting
caught, overextending, like in the side lane, then upset, obviously misplaying with Tristana, and them just, after the mid-game ends and the game is not structured through the coaching staff or whatever, whoever's structuring it anymore, it just falls flat. They are not good at making decisions in the moment. And I think that's where a shot caller or someone that is clutch basically is necessary.
Yeah, I gotta admit, a few weeks ago I was like, it's fine. 1,000,000% they make playoffs, 0 issues. But because the bottom teams, like Unicorns and like H2K, are playing fairly well, suddenly I get a little bit scared.
Yeah.
Because if those teams were just still kind of crashing and burning, Schalke for sure would still be able to get enough wins to make playoffs. But the way HK are playing now with Shook and Selfie, and the fact that Unicorns of Love, we've seen this over a few weeks now, are definitely not just going down without a fight and actually do pretty well, especially when they play around Exile in mid. I get a little bit scared. I think
you know why you get scared? I just remembered when you were wearing your Schalke suit, you were standing right there, you said, you know, 100% Schalke is making it to playoffs. I don't see any other thing. So there is a bit of doubt there now.
I still they're still favorites to make the playoffs amongst those bottom teams.
Agree, and they got a few wins ahead of the bottom teams as well, but we're looking at 7-8 teams fighting for this playoff spot.
Super exciting.
Where a lot of them can still kind of drop in and out. And the fact that Schalke only 2 wins ahead of Unicorns of Love and H2K, again, that's what scares me, because another bad week in week 6, and they might be tied with some of those teams. I think they have the talent, and I want to say they have the coaching staff to fix this and make playoffs, but I'm not seeing the improvement week to week at the moment.
When you say you're scared that they won't make it in time, is that because you have such high hopes and you think that they can actually reach very high highs?
Yes, that's the thing for me. Is I really like the way Schalke set up the entire thing from the get-go coming into this off-season. They knew where to invest their money. They knew to build the infrastructure first. It's a very, very professional setup around these players. So part of me really wants that to get rewarded and to succeed. But obviously, if things doesn't click in spring and you need more time, sucks for you then. You don't deserve to make playoffs.
Yeah.
So
however, I did also talk to some of the support staff before the split, and I heard also for them, well, it can be a long-term project. We have the time and we have the resources to kind of build on this. If it doesn't click right now, they have some time, right?
But it's still a failure if you do not make playoffs in spring split with this lineup.
All right, I think that is what we should go by for them with this lineup and the talent on this lineup. We have to keep a close eye rather on that, but it also means that luckily for the league and luckily for the excitement of the league, teams like the Unicorns of Love, like Rocket, like Giants, like H2K are now all in the mix. Even though it's going to be hard for some of them, it is still...
I mean, you asked me yesterday about H2K if they could still make playoffs, and I was like, no, it's done.
And
they're going to lose to the top teams. And then they beat Vitality now. Now, obviously, Vitality, again, a bit on the decline, but that still means that H2K, if they take down Splice and Misfits, these kind of guys, they're right back into it. So I guess I have to take that statement back and say H2K can still make playoffs.
Some thrilling developments in the EULCS rather after week 5. And as we close out the week, we also want to take a look at the highlights sent in by you guys on Twitter. Here are your LCS big plays brought to you by Acer Predator. First up, it is Splice's top laner Odoamne and his electrifying double kill in their win against Giants. @Furrymaker tweeted, "Odoamne, welcome back. We've missed you."
Here comes Steelback. This is the risk of the 1-3-1 that we talked about. Odo's going to get opened up on this. A spray and pray, but Odo's going to try and turn it back around. Hexing Ultimatum comes down and Steelback's down. Odo looking for the 2v1 outplay. Can he jump onto Ruin as well? The cannon barrage, the jump, the Odo get dunked!
I'm going to top wave.
Yeah. Twitch is not showing on mid. Be careful, bot.
I sleep now.
Oh.
Are you okay, bot?
Can we force mid, guys?
Yes, I'm
coming.
mid.
Oh,
nice.
Holy shit, Odo.
Odo, you're a beast.
Just push mid on top. Push mid on top. Odo is
shit, man.
Nice.
Odo, one there.
Guys,
do not
go in.
Just push down.
What is nice?
Great stuff. Odoamne was feeling amazing. We were singing his praises. We had him in the segment, and then today Soa said, no.
Soas will always solo kill Odoamne.
Oh, yeah.
Always. I don't know what goes on in Odoamne's mind when he plays against Soas, but he can't do it, man.
He loses it. And it was still a very competitive game, though. Splice versus Fnatic. Very interesting. And Misfits Gaming, they set up an epic Malphite and Galio Wombo combo versus Unicorns of Love with some unexpected assistance. Complex Orange said it right. Damn, that bouncy castle.
We're bot side with all our vision and our jungler.
But I don't know if Exile knows. Jarvan's on the way. Malphite's on the way. Exile's feeling frisky. This is exactly how he likes to play. He likes to play on the edge. He likes to play forward. He thinks he's got the turn. But Misfits, are they going to turn it back? They're waiting. Pull the Galio into the middle of the team. Give us the two-man. We'll find the follow-up, baby. That's the shotgun. One shot. Making it look easy on the turn and burn here. Unicorns love running. Tails between their legs.
Can you come from mid?
Can you move?
Can you come towards mid? This is good 5v5.
Zaya, move first.
Just come,
They're a lot faster.
Play slow, play slow.
I'm following. Zaya, move first.
Play slow, play slow, play slow.
I'll have to go on his ear.
Yeah, we goes there, we goes there.
I'm coming, 5 seconds.
I ult.
10. I'm here soon.
We win. No. Kill now. Nice. Good job.
For such a wombo combo, that was very calm shot calling.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, the enemy jungler kind of. So that play at the moment, I remember being like, "What? What was that by Unicorns? That was horrible." But I was poked out of nowhere, saying, "Actually, rewatch that fight. You might notice something different." So I did, and I also talked to Cold after. The fight was actually not bad from Unicorn's side. I was too early there, calling it horrible. One, Cold did not know that Galio could taunt during the Zac ult when you jump back.
Oh, that is, it kept going.
Yeah, they kept going.
Yeah.
So he didn't know that. Two, Exile should have just cleansed Flash. Of course, when he got taunted, he wouldn't get hit by the Malphite then, because Unicorns were actually 5 members, much faster than Misfits. So had Exile just cleansed Flashed away, I think Unicorns could have turned that fight around, and then it actually was not a bad play because they were 5v3 to start it. It just ended up looking horrible because everything went wrong that could have possibly gone wrong.
And in the end, you can give it all the contextualization you want. If that wombo combo goes off for Misfits and they do that, then it's unlucky for you. Moving on, Vitality didn't have the best game in the loss against H2K today, and were stuck defending their own base. But then, the Italian stallion Jizuke decided to make one last attempt, setting up an impressive teamfight win.
They're going to stop this. He flashes in, but the Resurrect comes down. Chrono Shift brings it back. Here's the Hero's Entrance as well. As Vitality are in their last gasp. Sheriff's down. Vitality get 2, and it's all off Jizuke. What a god! Vitality jumping in. Mini Truebax gets another selfie. Mike Ball here to Mini Truebax as well. It's a shutdown. It's going to be an ace. Vitality, Jizuke, they stop H2K.
Oh, we are going.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
guys, it's our chance.
Kill.
Come.
Go. I missed.
Hey,
oh, nice. One more auto. Nice.
And I guess that's why we talk about this guy so much, about Jizuke. Even in a losing situation like this, he is a guy that is able to find the openings, and that is what Vitality will keep having going for them going forward.
And I just really like how excited he gets about everything he does. You know, like he gets a kill, he's like, his voice gets higher, he just starts screaming. I love it.
Yeah, I love watching him play as well. Let's check out what we've got coming up next week, starting with a fight between the Unicorns of Love and Splice. We also have G2 versus Fnatic on Saturday. If you look at these matches, is there a match of the week potential there? What is your most exciting matchup?
I think on day 2 we have Fnatic G2. That would have to be our match of the week.
I think for that day, I think Schalke Misfits is actually going to be the most interesting matchup, because those teams are probably going to match up the best amongst the group, because Schalke has shown like this early mid-game strength, and Misfits also has like the same kind of like almost, play going for them.
If Schalke lose that game, H2K
overtake.
Of course, playing Fnatic, so that's a tough one. But again, I'm just saying, I can see these teams climb closer to Schalke.
We got to move on. I just want to ask you, you said Fnatic G2 on Saturday. Quick prediction round.
Oh, I hate you.
Fnatic. I'll take Fnatic. Gonna trust.
I'm going G2.
Fnatic and G2. I hate you too, Martin. No, wow, that was really nice. In any case,
out of nowhere.
Remember to stay tuned for tonight's action in the NA LCS, which starts with Team Liquid versus CLG. And after the end of the show in North America, you can catch all the EU LCS games from today in our rebroadcast. So be sure to stick around for that. Time to call the night here for Berlin. Your NA LCS action is about to start. And join us next week for more battles in the EU LCS. Have a great night.
Down towards the bottom side of this, there's Glacial Prism, but Exile jumps in, cleanse away the sleep. Exile's going to get a paddling onto Steelback, and that is a dead AD carry. 1-for-1 on Exile with the sleep, doesn't quite connect, does in the end with the sleeping, looking for it, gets the kill. Joker gets jumped on. Samus with a triple here with their second victory in the EU LCS. They'll wipe Giants off the map, and they will take down the Nexus. They'll secure it with the smite, and here comes Shevin. He wants to take this kill onto Jizuke, but Jizuke puts him in his place, takes him down now. Maybe going for an engage here, the speed up on Shook. There's the knockback onto Jacktron. Here's the hero's entrance as well. Jacktron tries to veer up away, but he gets knocked airborne. The Cataclysm comes down. What a performance from H2K. The turnaround mid-split. H2K are reborn.
Nice.
Not Vander Nukeduck. Visit Shachi. The cavalry has arrived, and they are looking for Blake, and they blank out his health bar. And the call of the Forge God is coming. Let's see, they get a 3-man knockup, and it's a bloodbath in the mid lane. Rocket say, you want to go now? We'll end this right here. One clean fight at the end of the game. That's exactly what they needed. And Rocket go 5-5.
Oh, I love you guys.
Yeah.
I love you guys so much.
Especially when he has ult, and now Max Law not able to find the pick. Could this be his dad? Oh, it is! The Rise is coming around the side. Alfari taken up a little bit too low, but Perks, he's gonna flash and juke away from Simcooks, and now they can force this fight on. Perks on the front. Perks and G2 Esports flexing their muscles and proving they are dominant in EU. All right, fight looks like to be started here. The Cho'Gath. Oh, chunked out. Oh, this is dead! This Cersei trying to go in for a third wind, but it's the Nexus that's there. Cersei's gonna fall, and Fnatic do it. 5-0 in the last few weeks. What a game ender.